Hey guys, it's Captain Forrest here. Today, I've got a special video. We're doing a prediction video, death battle, of course. We all love our predictions. We're going to go over who would win more often than not, and who we think would win in the upcoming death battle, which is Goku Black versus Reverse Flash. And I've got some pretty amazing people on the channel today, so of course I got my boy Corin.
What is up, everyone? Cornoki back yet again. Thanks for having me, Captain Forrest.
Awesome. I got Instinct.
What's up? It's your boy Instinct. Glad to be climbing with you guys again.
Awesome. I got Slick.
Yo, what's up everyone? I'm Slick, and I'll be covering the scaling for Professor Zoom.
I got my boy Kirai.
Yo, what's up everyone? It's Lord Kirai here.
And last but not least, C Justice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is everything. So, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Corin. Corin will be going over some of Goku Black's stats, so we're going over AP and speed, maybe some other stuff. Then we'll pass the mic over to Instinct. He'll also give his 2 cents on the rest of Goku Black's abilities. Both will also probably even give their verdicts and thoughts. Then I'll also pass the mic on to Slick. He will go over Reverse Flash, and then I will then go over who would win more often than not with both these characters. And if anyone else would like to also chime in, Chirai and C Justice are more than welcome to give their thoughts afterwards. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Corin.
Alright, thanks, Forrest. So, starting off with the attack power of Goku Black, we actually know, at this point, we all should definitely know the fight in Battle of Gods between Goku and Beerus the Destroyer. Now, this clash consistently showcased that they were threatening to annihilate the entire universe, the entire macrocosm. They were affecting more than just the living world. They were affecting the Supreme Kai realm and the afterlife itself. Now, I've said this time and time, the afterlife in itself contains a planet known as Heaven. Heaven itself is stated verbatim to be about as wide as the universe, which means even if you only destroy this planet, you'd right off the bat be universal, which already goes to show that this feat is very impressive, as it also contains hell, which is also in the afterlife, as well as the demon realm, which is in the living world, located beneath the universe itself. And of course, as mentioned, the Supreme Kai realm, which in itself orbits outside of the macrocosm and is confirmed to be about 1/10 the size of said macrocosm. Now, this doesn't inherently make you low multi or multiversal, at least by the versus algorithm that a lot of us go by. And what I mean by that is this in itself, right, destroying the matter within these structures, that would be higher into universal, because even if you're destroying multiple realms, if you're only destroying the matter within them on a universal scale, that wouldn't be going beyond a 3-dimensional scale. So this is still very impressive, and it's also extremely impressive in a way when you look at it other ways as well. So now, before we get into that, I want to talk about this. So destroying time, let's say if you destroy time along with the matter, right, in space, so space and time, well, that in itself would not inherently make you fourth dimensional. I do want to actually state that, as time is a single temporal dimension that's within three spatial dimensions, so it's in a 3D realm. So even if we were to showcase that they're affecting time as well, that wouldn't inherently make them something we call uni plus with like the standard algorithm, you could say, so to speak, like character stats and VSB. Some of you are probably familiar with out there. For example, they state that you would need to affect, destroy, or create a space that is quantifiably larger than an infinitely large 3D space, which obviously would have one single temporal dimension of time, which again does not inherently equate to four higher dimensions. That's just one single dimension of time with three dimensions of space. And that's VSB, at least. Character stats is similar, but the point is destroying time within the 3D space is not inherently Uni plus or 40 or higher. But now moving on to something that could be considered impressive from death battle standards themselves, they use something known as volume scaling. Now, volume scaling takes, the universe. Let's say you have like a trillion light years across, or you have like something like, the Dragon Ball macrocosm, and they use volume scaling, and you pretty much get, with this type of standard, multiversal, so to speak. So that's something to keep in mind. So like someone who's like destroying something like a larger universe than our own observable, it could via volume scaling equate to still be like, so to speak, multiversal by that type of standard. So this feat in itself could still prove itself to be very impressive in its own right for that type of standard, which I may not necessarily agree with myself, but that's here nor there. That is something they do, and I just want to throw it out there that the feat could still be at a multiversal scale by that particular standard. Now, moving on to something else to keep in mind, there's also like guidebook statements that do imply the afterlife within the main continuity being the next dimension, or encompassing these other universes, something, stuff along those lines, and in some cases described as like, a higher dimension. And in the video games, there is a guidebook that directly does describe it as like the next dimension, a higher dimension, a completely, entirely different universe, like within Asian mythology, that encompasses the lower universes. Now, I'm not saying this video game guide is inherently connected or canon to the main continuity, but again, it could be looked at as supporting evidence if you wanted to go the route with the guidebooks for the main continuity that do support it and the implications within the series itself. So you could argue the afterlife is 4D in itself, and that would, if you go with like the versus algorithm, like with VSB and character stats, then yeah, you could get us to 4D, Uni plus, or low multi, since you have stuff like Beerus and Champa, two gods of destructions, being able to destroy and threaten both Universe 6 and Universe 7 macrocosms, which would both have this arguable fourth dimensional afterlife in the main continuity. And even if you don't want to say, Black would scale to that directly, there's still the other argument that would say the living world in itself is still parallel to that of the afterlife. They would both be as a whole 4D, encompassing these lower, infinitely large 3D structures like the universe, planet heaven, etc., etc. So there's arguments that could be made for all these sides. Now, any way you go with it, it's still very impressive for Goku Black, because even when he first fought the present Goku, the one we all know and love from the series in the anime, for example, he fought him in base, and he was able to go toe to toe with Super Saiyan 2 Goku. And this is Goku after Battle of Gods, multiple arcs later. And in Battle of Gods alone, he absorbed the power of Super Saiyan God into Super Saiyan form and even into base form, arguably. And he for sure surpassed Super Saiyan God in his base by the time he was training in ROF, the Resurrection of F arc. So this is very freaking impressive, because even if we ignore the training boost before this arc and throughout this arc, that's still 50 times on top of this, however you want to slice it, universal feat that Goku Black's already fighting in his base form alone. And obviously he keeps growing stronger. Heck, he grows massively stronger to the point where he's going up against Super Saiyan Blue level characters. He has his own Super Saiyan Rose. He's able to fight Super Saiyan Rage Trunks. And all this as a whole is very freaking impressive, very telling, puts him very high into the finite uni ranges or the 40 uni plus low multi ranges, however you want to go about it, however you want to argue it. I'm fine, either way. And again, for the Death Battle standards, they're going to go with the whole volume scaling. So yeah, Goku Black should easily be in the universal ranges, very high into it. Now, in terms of speed, easily massively faster than light, plus much faster than light, quadrillions, sextillions at times, even faster. There's calcs in the anime, Goku in his base crossing the afterlife within seconds. Obviously, Black would massively upscale, and obviously there's the clash between Beerus and Goku. As I mentioned, their flashes and energy across the entire universe within a finite period of time very quickly. They were able to react to these same attacks. They would scale to them as well. And there's obviously calcs for this being anywhere from quadrillions, quintillions, sextillions at times the speed of light. And Black just massively upscales from this, massively. So with that out of the way, I do want to briefly mention there are arguments to say the Dragon Ball universes are infinitely large. The galaxies exist infinitely. The universe is endless. So there are arguments for that as well. Not bad arguments. So either way you go, again, universal levels of power here for Goku Black, and much faster than the speed of light, very freaking casually in terms of combat speed and reaction time. So passing on to Instinct now.
All right, since you got the AP and speed out the way, I'm just gonna go right over to the hacks for a bit. All right, so as you see with it, if you read the manga or watched the anime, Goku Black has stat amps and some crazy adaptation. Every time he gets a beating from Trunks and Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, he gets stronger by that. And also after when Vegeta has a rage amp and he was beating the living hell out of Black started using his anger for him to create a scythe. And also he also has portal creation and space-time manip, meaning using his scythe he can cut through space-time to create rifts that can summon clones of himself. And he has all the hacks that Goku has prior. And as for skills, he adapted he has like martial arts since he took Goku's body, and even Goku as a kid, he has a lot of crazy martial arts and skill. And it's not just that. As I said before, he has adaptation and stat amps, which he also has reactive power level and reactive evolution. For meaning as a Saiyan, Black will grow stronger every time he fights, and he can even become stronger in the midst of combat, vastly increasing his strength whenever he is mortally injured. Being injured at all actually makes Black stronger, actually. And since Ki and Dragon Ball can argue to be spiritual of nature, and yeah, you can argue for them to have resist Sohak since Ki can affect the mind, body, and the soul as well. And I would also argue that Black has a causality times one, meaning that his ring actually protected him from. All right, yeah, it actually protected him since Beerus Hakai presence of Monsoon Hakai was able to erase you from existence on a mental, physical, and spiritual level as well. And what I mean by a causality type one is since presence of Monsoon got erased, and yet Goku, Black, and Future Zamasu were unaffected by this, meaning he was able to survive within a different timeline. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, Black's ring is equipment," but here's the thing: Black always has it with him. And let me get to his resistances, which he's obviously has rage, power, and transformations, and he also can resist pressure point strikes and time time manipulation since Black claimed to possess all of Goku's abilities, which includes the Universe 6 tournament when Goku fought against Hit in his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken state. And then when Hit was using his time skip on Goku or time manipulation, Goku was able to adapt to that as well. And Black has the body of it. Well, that's it for his hacks for now. I guess I can hand the mic off to Slick since he wants to explain Reverse Flash.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go over Professor Zoom's scaling. So first off, Professor Zoom has very consistent scaling to Barry Allen and Wally West. Both should be Uni Plus, as Barry, when he wasn't even trying, easily broke through Hal Jordan's constructs, and in this scenario it was stated that Hal Jordan was using all of his willpower, and Barry, while not even trying to fight Hal, still easily broke through this construct. And it was even later on shown in that same storyline that Professor Zoom would scale to Barry Allen. And in terms of durability, his durability does tend to fluctuate depending on how serious he's being, because if he's being cocky and not serious at all, he can pretty much get beaten up by people like Batman. But when he is being serious, he does have the durability feats of tanking punches from both Barry and Wally at the same time. And I'd also like to mention that Green Lantern rings themselves are stated to be extra dimensional, and even the basic definition of extra dimensional is pretty much a dimension beyond our own, meaning that Green Lantern rings would be beyond the third dimension, making the universes in DC 4D space-time, since Green Lantern rings can exist within them. And in terms of speed, Professor Zoom, I will first talk about finite speed scaling, which is scaling that Death Battle would more than likely use. But for finite speed scaling, Professor Zoom has shown that he's faster than Hal Jordan, and this is due to him pretty much scaling in terms of speed to Barry and Wally, who have shown that they are faster than Hal Jordan. And even Green Lanterns, going at their cruising speeds, can cross the universe in 10 hours, and Death Battle is more than likely going to use the scaling of how a universe in DC is 100 trillion light years in length, and this speed feat for Green Lanterns was calced to be over 86 quadrillion times the speed of light. And Professor Zoom also does have scaling to show that he is faster than a suppressed Superman, and even a suppressed Superman, when he was like in the monitor sphere, was able to like blitz these reality blitzing missiles, which was calced to be sextillions of times the speed of light. Now, those missiles were more than likely irrelevant speed since they were coming from the monitor sphere. But knowing how like Death Battle goes about things, they probably like won't mention that. And for Professor Zoom's, like more consistent scaling, he does have very consistent immeasurable speed feats. As like I've mentioned before, he has kept up with Barry and Wally before. Wally himself has shown that he can like run like centuries into the future, like the time he ran to the 800th century, and both Flashes. Even one time accidentally ran a few weeks into the future, and Professor Zoom himself does have a few direct and measurable speed feats, like the time he was being chased by Barry and Wally into the past, and he himself pretty much is moving through between centuries, as Professor Zoom's time period is in the 25th century, while Barry and Wally are in the current time period, which is the 21st century. So Professor Zoom is constantly traveling between those time periods, making immeasurable speed very consistent for Professor Zoom. Now, in terms of hacks, I'm only going to be like going over things that Professor Zoom would do in character, because I feel it would be kind of pointless to mention like the hacks he's used when he wasn't in a combat situation. But some of them include his ability to time travel, though this isn't going to work on Goku Black, as the time ring does counter that, and his ability to pretty much steal speed, similar to how Barry and Wally do. Professor Zoom himself has that same ability to steal speed. And in terms of hacks, that should be about it, because Professor Zoom doesn't like really use too many of his hacks in character. So yeah, that should cover it for the most part for Professor Zoom.
Okie doke. So, going into this fight, is pretty interesting cross-verse battle. Who do I think wins more often than not? So, Korin, Instinct, and Slick have both given their explanations, their stats, scaling, and in-character arguments. How I see things going in terms of like Goku Black or in Reverse Flash's favor, we have to look at things from an in-character perspective. Slick is very correct on this. We must mention things that they would do in character or lean towards doing more in terms of consistency or what they would do in a certain situation. But obviously, because of standard battle assumptions and X, Y, and Z, we just have to break it down. So yes, depending on like how you scale things, like, and obviously the interpretations of Death Battle will probably use a lot of low ends. They'll give like Goku Black the AP. I don't think they'll give Reverse Flash the AP per se over Goku Black, but depending on how you scale DC, you can get Reverse Flash pretty high in terms of AP. But even if like Goku Black had the AP advantage, I really don't think it's over. It's pretty interesting. Like Reverse Flash does have some options. As mentioned, he could try to BFR Goku Black, like he could try and BFR him, time travel, or do any of that stuff. But I just think that the time ring would protect Goku Black from such a hack. So I don't think BFRing Goku Black in that type of scenario wouldn't necessarily work because of the ring and the acausality. But this is another thing that we should keep in mind actually, which is pretty impressive. There is another way that Reverse Flash could deal with Goku Black, and that's to send him into the Speed Force, which is an outerversal realm. Now, as mentioned by Slick, Reverse Flash pretty much has near enough all the abilities of obviously the other Flashes, he could literally send him to this outerversal realm. There's no way Goku Black's going to get out of it literally immediately relevant speed to even move in such a realm, because it's a conceptual realm. It's pretty much above dimensionality, so there's no way that Goku Black could come out of this realm. And another thing, the kinetic speed, like stealing the kinetic energy, would also be a pretty interesting win con for Reverse Flash. He could literally just blitz, because he definitely has the speed advantage. He could literally blitz and like steal the kinetic energy from Goku Black. So Goku Black literally is just immobilized. He could just literally just become incapacitated, and Reverse Flash could win through those means, which is pretty impressive. Like overall, it's pretty interesting. Like definitely, if we're looking at things from a Death Battles perspective, Goku Black could win in terms of AP, his hexes. He does have some resistances, of course, with the ring protecting him from like standard like things like time travel. So if like Reverse Flash tried to go back in the past and kill, you know, Goku X, Y, and Z to try and mess up the timeline, it just wouldn't work. The ring would protect him. But obviously Reverse Flash could take it a step ahead if he wanted to. He's definitely would, I'd see him doing this more in character, you know, compared to like Wally, because obviously Wally is more like kind, I guess, whereas Reverse Flash is an absolute menace, he's a goon. He doesn't care, he doesn't hold back unless he's being cocky. But in this fight, it's, you know, he's definitely gonna take it serious if you start seeing like Goku Black, like, you know, annoying him and going off in character perspectives. So more often than not, I do have to lean more so to Reverse Flash. The speed, he has the speed edge, the hexes, and just intricate ways to deal with Goku Black. So that's just my views, at least. So if anyone else would like to give their thoughts, Kurai's more than welcome to, or Slick, or anyone else. So I'll leave the mic on the floor for anyone to take it up.
Yeah, sure. So in this case, from hearing both sides, from Goku Black and from Reverse Flash, I'm actually gonna throw my little thoughts in there too as well. Just adding on to what Slick said about Reverse Flash even having like Flash's abilities, you know, being similar. Something I actually wanted to actually bring up is, and something that Captain Force also said as well, is the Speed Force. But the thing is, it's what Captain Force said about this being like an outerversal realm, and I think it's actually interesting as well, because Reverse Flash has something that's called a negative Speed Force, so it's the exact opposite of what the Speed Force is, and I think it's kind of badass as well, because in this case scenario, because Reverse Flash has actually did a feat to where actually he countered, he completely negged Flash while he was in the Speed Force with his own negative Speed Force, and it was basically to the point of like causing Flash to have all these bad memories of what was happening to him in his past life. Another thing is to as well, when it comes to like Reverse Flash as well, it's like he can he has like some of the feats like the others said to like Barry Allen, and he can also scale to him as well. Something interesting that no one brought up is that the Reverse Flash actually has a funny win con that Death Battle might bring up in this, and that is the "It is me" berries, to which Death Battle gives his Reverse Flash a speed, because there was a time in the comics and in the show to where the Reverse Flash traveled so fast that he literally jacked off barely at super speed, so it seems like he nutted at a woman's touch. So I feel like that actually plays something very big in this battle. I'm just messing around, but you could use that. But like, to add further on, there's also like some old comics as well, and pre-crisis of basically like Reverse Flash like fighting Hal. There is some of that. There is some of that stuff, so which I will be posting as well. And just overall, just scaling to Barry as well. So, and then we have the on the other scenario of where we have Goku Black, and I don't think Goku Black doesn't have anything in his arsenal that can even affect, like, all of his hacks really cannot even affect the Flash, because Reverse Flash pretty much has resistances to all of Goku's Black hacks. It's like, even if you do want to give him like AP, it's like, even with that AP, he's not going to do nothing to like Reverse Flash, who's gonna gonna have the speed. And what Captain Force said as well, just BFR him to the negative speed force, and just end him there, and just end him right there and there, and it will just be too late for him. Another thing too as well is like with when it comes to like Reverse Flash as well, he actually has like he has resisted a lot of things that the Flash can resist as well. He has many feats of like fighting others, like he fought Batman, he fought he fought like a whole bunch of people that the Flash has also fought as well. I'll be posting those scans below. And then yeah, overall, my overall thoughts on this is that Reverse Flash is gonna win. Maybe Death Battle, I don't know what Death Battle is gonna do. They're on that goon shit too as well. But I'm just gonna say I'm saying Goku Black loses and Reverse Flash wins, because it was me, Barry. I jacked you off at super speed, so it seems like you nutted at a woman's touch.
This dude.
Yo,
Yeah,
C Justice, want to give your final thoughts?
If I pretty much gonna expect what the heck they're gonna bring in for at least like scaling the Barry, like I'm hoping they're at least still gonna bring up, like, say, the whole him perceiving stuff in like less than add a second.
So I would also like to add on a little bit to what Force Curai said about the negative speed force. So basically, like, the negative speed force, like, as they like mentioned, is like the opposite to like the regular speed force. Like, it's one of like the 7 negative energies of creation in DC, and the negative speed force is actually generated by Professor Zoom himself. But in my personal opinion, like, I will talk about how I think Death Battle would go about it, and how I would personally go about it. I would have to go with Professor Zoom on this, because Goku Black, sure, you could say he does have the higher AP advantage, but in terms of speed, I would definitely give that to Professor Zoom, because like his immeasurable speed scaling is very consistent, and he also does have like his win cons, like his speed stealing, which like could like work on Goku Black, and he also does have the ability to, you know, always BFR to like the negative speed force. But in my personal opinion, I think Professor Zoom would more so use that as a last resort, since he tends to go for the physical approach at first. But overall, in my opinion, due to like having speed, like a massive speed advantage, and like just like the better win cons, I would give it to Professor Zoom, in my personal opinion. Now to how I think Death Battle would go about it, they would more than likely give Goku Black the AP advantage, but I would also still stand by then giving Professor Zoom the speed advantage. And in terms of hacks, I don't necessarily think they're gonna bring up how Professor Zoom could like utilize the negative speed force, and I think they're mainly just gonna go about how, you know, Professor Zoom could, you know, time travel, speed steal, and like do all of these like hacks that like he doesn't really use like in character. So in the end, I feel like they're gonna have Goku Black win due to Goku Black having higher AP, and for speed, they're both gonna have them at like finite levels of speed. Just Professor Zoom being like faster. So I feel like Death Battle is gonna say that, like, the speed advantage wouldn't be big enough, and Goku Black would just counter like Professor Zoom's like main like ability, which is like the time travel via like the time ring, like that, like just like counters Zoom's time travel. And for the speed stealing, that's something they might bring up, but would then try to say that Goku Black would just like kill Professor Zoom before he could really use it.
All right, I want to add something a little bit more to it. I forgot a few of Goku Black's hacks. Well, all right. Basically, with the whole sci-fi I was talking about, which he can cut through space time. Like I would argue, he can use like his Keyblade to neg durability since Vegeta was actually on guard and he has high durability, and Black was able to negate that when he first fought Vegeta. And also I would like to mention is that he can also time travel as well with the ring, but he doesn't usually do that in character. So I'm gonna be more honest about this. And for the speed, for Death Battle standards, like as Slick said, the speed would be, the gap would be more small in speed, but if it was normally, even if I would give Black like good set, like infinite speed, which is consistent to me, but even then, like Professor Zoom has like consistently shown immeasurable speed and even higher. Even if I were to say that Black would resist BFR, which is that, but as Kirai and Slick and Forrest said before, there is the negative zone, which is the opposite of the Speed Force, which even though Goku Black's my boy, but overall, I would actually give this to Professor Zoom more often than not.
Right on. Guess I'll give my quick final thoughts. So, yeah, pretty much. If we go with me now, if it were me, I could see it kind of going either way, because for one, it does depend on how you argue certain things. But I guess if you really want my overall thoughts for how I would go about it, I would say Reverse Flash is consistently faster. And if you go off how DC is structured, I would say Reverse Flash has the higher AP, and I would go with Reverse Flash more often than not. Now, if you go with like the volume scaling, stuff like that, like what Death Battle is going to use, then Goku Black may end up being like more powerful, especially because of the multipliers and stuff. Although the DC universe is much larger than our own, but again, with the multipliers and the boosts, Goku Black may end up being more powerful. So, in the speed, I'm interested to see how they go about it, but we do know they gave Flash incalculable, in their words, incalculable speed before, also known as immeasurable. So Reverse Flash may end up having that. Overall, kind of looking forward to this Death Battle. It seems like an interesting fight, and yeah, definitely can see it going either way. Just hope both characters get justice. And those are my final thoughts. Anyone else? Hope everyone has a blessed day. Hope y'all enjoyed this video for what it actually was. Everyone say peace.
Peace. Subscribe to
Peace.
Loki.
Peace.
It was me, Barry.
See you in the
Please
next one.
stop extinct.